Hey everybody, welcome to Module 6. And I know that I've said it before, but I'm going to say it again. It is amazing how fast we are moving through this. I mean, it feels like we just started this course. Now we're on week 6. We only have 3 weeks left, week 6, 7, and 8. Things are moving incredibly quickly. But I do want to just say again that many of you have been doing some outstanding work. Several of you have shown improvement over the time. You're getting better. You're getting more in depth with your work. You're really being able to utilize the things we learned. I've been super proud of a lot of the things that I've been seeing, and I hope that you keep that up. Let's take a look at Module 6. Module 6 is researching the conversation. So what we've done is we took a source and we looked at it and said, this is what I think of it. And then we went and we took 2 sources and we said, okay, here's how they're similar, they're different. We did this analysis of how they fit together or don't fit together and how they fit into the larger argument. Today or this week, we're going to start the process of creating our own argument. And the first step of doing that is the research. Now, this paper, the persuasive or argumentative paper, we're trying to get people to buy into what we're saying and to you're asking them to do. And that first step is the research, because I'm asking people to do something. I'm asking the audience to buy into something. But to do that, I really need to show them that I understand the information, that I have great information, that I'm sharing with them valid sources. And so that research step is super important, because we're trying to find information not only that helps explain it, but they come from very credible sources. So that's what we're going to be looking at in Module 6. So the first thing that we look at here is just the introduction to the argument. Now we'll talk more about the argumentative paper. This is the paper I think people enjoy doing the most, because this really fits into what we do. Right? This is the way we interact with the world around us. We have a thing to share and we're trying to convince other people of it, right? Like, this is a good job, or this is a good restaurant, or I don't want to go do this because, and we're oftentimes making and selling a position. And that's what the argumentative paper does. Now we'll talk more about this, but what you're going to do is you're going to take the broad closed theme readings of food and society, and you're going to develop a position within that broad range, and then you're going to argue it. Now you could talk about food insecurity, you could talk about obesity, you could talk about food labeling or GMOs, or there's a lot of different things, as long as it fits under that really broad heading that we started with. And then what you're going to do is you're going to create an argument. Now that argument is your thesis statement, right? This is the thing that needs to be addressed, and here's a way of doing it, right? It's going to be selling your position on something, okay? We're going to introduce that information. We're going to introduce that topic to people. We're going to get them engaged and excited about reading. And then we're going to create a very organized, structured argument that walks through. Here's the information. Here's the issue. We're going to say, here's why it's an issue, and walk our audience through that. We're going to use reasoning and logic to get our audience to see, yeah, this is something that is a concern, and it is a concern to me. And then we're going to pitch a solution, and we're going to, again, using that reasoning and logic, sell them on it. Within this, we are going to use at least 3 cited sources, okay? 3 cited sources. Now, you may use the sources that we have in the closed reading. You can use the additional resources that you find, okay? But at least 3. The one caveat is that one of these sources must be from the Ivy Tech library databases. Now, we're going to talk about that in a little bit, how to access that, and you're going to have some experience with that. So at least one source has to be from outside. The other 2 can be outside, inside, or whatever of our readings. The half draft, which will be due on week 7, not week 6. Now, a lot of times we've started a new paper and you draft the same week. This is actually going to be a week later. The half draft will be 600 to 700 words. Again, you are welcome to write the whole thing or most of the thing, especially because the final draft will be due on week 8, and that's going to start to get into a time crunch with the end of the semester and stuff. You use APA or MLA style. Either one will be fine, okay? And again, at least the 3 cited sources. Now, let's take a look at some of the activities that you're going to be doing this week. First off is the closed research theme background. very similar to what we've done before. We want you to go out. We want you to find another article. Now, this time, this article should be applicable to the position that you're arguing or the topic that you're arguing. Okay. And in a new post, we just want you to kind of describe, how does this relate to what you're thinking about doing? Okay. What do you think of it? Did you like it? Does it give you a new angle? Does it give you a new perspective? Is there something useful and interesting that you would be able to use? Okay. Again, this isn't a graded assignment. It's a done or not done assignment, but it does give you that one more opportunity to be reading a new source and getting some more information and a broader perspective. We do have an assignment in which we're going to be searching the library databases. If you follow this link here, this will take you to some instructional videos. It's going to show you a lot of the different ways to access information. It walks you through that process. Now, the nice thing about the library databases, and you'll see this in some of the information that you have here. If you just go onto Google and you search, food deserts, you're going to get all kinds of information. But how do you know that that source is valid, is good, is appropriate, is useful for you? It's hard because you have to validate the source, and that takes time and effort, and it's hard. The sources that you find in the library databases have been pre-vetted, meaning that the library subscribes to these databases. These databases collect articles from particular journals, magazines, newspapers, whatever. These are already credible sources. And so the assumption is that the information there is credible. They come from a credible source. Now, doesn't mean you have to buy into what they're saying. You can argue against what they're saying. That's fine. But the source where they come from, very valid. And so you don't have to worry about that. So the nice thing is that the things that you find on the library databases are generally respectable and usable right out of the box. Okay. There is an assignment that you'll be doing with that. Once you go out and you find an article, you go to this assignment, this exercise. It is going to walk you through who is the author, when was it published, what was the permalink. It's going to ask you a lot of the different things just to make sure that you understand how to find those different elements. Very straightforward to find that source. Excuse me. And then we have this week's discussion board. And during this discussion board, you're going to introduce your topic to the reader, to the class, to your peers, and you're going to present the source, a source that you think helps explain that. Okay, so you're going to do two things. What you're going to do is, this is what I want to write about. This is the issue. Okay, food deserts, obesity, GMOs, regulating GMOs, whatever. Again, the wide, broad spectrum of topics under the heading of our closed theme. And then you're going to introduce your peers to the background reading that you found. Now, this could be one of our closed reading themes, or it could be the source that you found. I prefer the one that you found, although that's not a requirement, just because, again, when you put that out there and other people interact with it and they can ask some questions, it might help you have a better understanding of it. A lot of your readers have read a lot of these other texts before. And so, you may not get as fresh of a perspective, or you won't get some of those questions. You will put up this initial post early in the week, Thursday, and then reply to at least 2 other people's posts after that, before the end of Sunday. And then what we want you to be thinking about is, how useful do you think that source is? Do you think that that source will help you answer that? What are some of the questions that you have with that? Do you see that it does or does not address, or do you feel like, well, there's some better source that you could use, or what are some of the things that really draw you to that source to help you believe in it? Because again, now you're asking like a reader, like an audience, hey, look, here's a piece of information. Do you believe it? And do they or do they not? And so those will be the responses. You'll reply to at least 2 of them. Now, don't forget to get the full amount of points on the discussion boards. Look again at their rubric. The expectation is 2 sources or 2 replies to get all the points, or to be eligible for all the points. You should be doing more than 2. And you should also be going on those databases or on those discussion boards on multiple days, meaning I post and then I reply on different days. The expectation is that you will be on at least 2 different days. The more you post and the more off, the more days you use, the better. Okay. Again, the discussion boards aren't really any different, but they are. They are there to help you kind of feel out your audience and to see what they think of the sources that you might be able to use. And then finally, we have the mini annotated bibliography. And so what you're going to do is you are going to go find 2 sources on the library database website, closed readings that I provided, but these are new readings, okay? You're going to find at least 2. Now, could one of them be that you already used? Yes, that's fine. But you got to find at least 2. You're going to pull the MLA or APA style citation, depending on which source, which style you want to use, okay? And then you're going to write an evaluation, and then a summary, okay? So you're going to say, here is the source, here's what it's about, and here's what I think of it. Here's my evaluation of it. Why is it credible? Why is it believable? How is it going to help me out? Each annotation is going to be is going to be around 200 words. Okay. I do expect to see it in that format. Here's a citation. Here's a summary. Here's my evaluation. It does say to see the little Seagull handbook book W16 as a guide for writing your evaluation, your evaluation of the source. Okay, that gives you some kind of direction of that. But again, the big thing that we want to see is the summary. So, like somebody who hasn't read it, do they understand what it's about? And then why you think it's going to be useful, helpful to you. Okay, how you think you're going to be able to use it, and why do you think you should be using it? One of the things I always like to remind people is the question you need to be asking yourself is, how does this help me, right? How does this help me? It gives me the background. It gives me credibility. It gives me a new perspective versus an old perspective, right? However you look at it. But it should provide you that. It should be able to answer that question. How is this going to help me? Anyway, guys, this is week 6. We do have 3 more weeks to go. We are facing the end. The end is coming right at us. It's coming quick. It has been a great semester so far, and I really am looking forward to you finishing up strong. As before, if you have any questions, please make sure you're reaching out to me so that I can clarify or help you or point you in the right direction. And good luck, everybody.